Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to You Gotta Laugh to Keep from Crying. I'm co-host Richard Koritz here with my fellow co-host and old friend, brother, trade union activist, and an all-around fine community member, O.W. Sweeney.
How you doing
Good
today,
to see
my
you, brother,
brother?
as always.
All right,
fine.
all right.
And we're here to
We're brought to you by the North Carolina
Triad Jobs with Justice,
where you can reach us at 336-272-2758.
or you could reach us at our email address, which is nctriadjwj@gmail.com. And with that, we want to open with some thoughts of Brother Sweeney.
Well, it's not actually a thought. It's a actual what I call reality. I was watching a news show, and the news show was talking about how Donald Trump had promised our fellow citizens in Western North Carolina how and what he was going to do for them. That he was going to make sure that they got FEMA and all this here stuff. But they were saying that the news was saying that they never got all that stuff that Trump was talking about.
And in fact, Trump recently made it clear to the people of Western North Carolina and the rest of us that he has no intention of having any federal funds going into Western North Carolina to help heal the situation there.
I mean, and he carried this here state big, too.
Mm-hmm.
And after they rolled that out, the Republican, Michael, I can't think of his last name right now, announced himself as running for the senator seat that's being vacant by Tom Tillis on the Republican ticket with the full endorsement of
Donald
J. Trump,
right,
the President of the United States.
Right.
And I was wondering, what is the news show trying to show, telling that Trump has completely disrespected, completely ignored.
Turned his back on.
And I just say he just stabbed the people in the back of Western North Carolina.
Okay.
And then they come on and put this here man on saying he had the full endorsement of Donald J. Trump to run for the Republican ticket in the North Carolina. Yeah. And I was wondering what their message is. Are they trying to tell people something? Should they look into the subject and think for themselves and see who's really looking out for them? Because as the old tale goes, you can tell a lie to go around the block, but if you tell the truth, a lie will go around the world before you tell the truth to get across the street. Yeah. So, I mean, are they going to continue to support Donald J. Trump and his cronies who's up there fighting for them? Now, mind you, when I wish I could think of his last name, Michael something, I forgot it. Instead of him talking about fighting for the people of the United States, of North Carolina,
right,
he was talking about supporting Trump.
Right.
So what is he supporting Trump to do? To disrespect the people of North Carolina.
Right. And it's interesting that you raise that point, because right in the last few days they've had some very dramatic footage of one or two Republican congresspeople that have gone against Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's advice to them to stay away from their constituents and not listen to their constituents, and by no means have a town meeting with your constituents. And you've seen these people, including this congressman in the red state of Nebraska, being basically just about driven out of his own town meeting.
Is that the one where they was shouting, vote him out? Is that the same one?
Yeah, I believe it is. But he had the same approach. We can only wish that this Michael that you're talking about has the same good luck in wrapping himself in Donald Trump that this congressperson in Nebraska had, because they just about drove him out with their boos on Trump and on him.
Yes.
And so, anyway, but I think that's.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but it goes to show the fact of how Trump is talking about doing one thing, but yet doing something totally different to disrespect the people in this country, whether they're citizens or non-citizens. For instance, Naser. You got something to say on him, so go ahead and say it.
Oh, Mr. Naser, the 50-year-old hard-working Greensboro resident that was kidnapped, and we definitely need to let our viewers know. Last week,
and apologize to our viewers.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me, now that you mentioned it to me, let me say it. That last week we actually did a show with the theme of what does U.S. fascism look like today? And we focused a lot of attention on Mr. Naser, this hardworking father of five, man originally from Libya, who has all the full documentation to be working in the United States. He's actually trying to become a citizen, and he has no deportation order or anything else on him. And he was kidnapped, I think you said already here, by ICE thugs who, as they generally do in this country now, don't identify themselves in any way and just accost people on the street or at their homes and seize them. And in his case, Mr. Naser was sent to a Georgia detention center, and we reported that he had been, by the day that we had our last show last week, we reported, as the News and Record, the Greensboro News and Record, had in their headline, "Man picked up by ICE, released on bond." So part of our effort to shine a light on what fascism, U.S. fascism looks like in the United States, was focused on this local outstanding person that the reportage had led us to believe had been released because of all the popular support for him, the 5 Democratic Congress people from the North Carolina state legislature who had rallied to his support. And it sounded we were, leaving his situation, for the moment at least, on a very good note. And but come to find out, to our surprise, and to the surprise of his family and all these hundreds of supporters in the Greensboro and Winston-Salem area, he wasn't released at all because ICE used... As
wrong as they are.
As what?
As wrong as they are.
As wrong as they are, as terroristic as they are, as vigilante-ish as they are, as fascistic as they are, they dealt with a loophole in the law that gave them the right to appeal, because this was an immigration court judge who had made that decision to give him bail, and that process allowed them the opportunity to appeal that judge's decision. And as an immigration judge, he didn't have any more that he could do, except what he had done, which he thought
was right,
which was to do what was right, free him from Georgia and to come on home to his family and to a community that in which he is a beloved figure. And he, again, for those that may not remember, he has a full-time job working for Wendy's.
Do he still have that job?
Well, I don't know. That I don't know. He did at the moment when he was seized a few weeks ago. He had that job, and he'd been in that job for quite a while. I just want our viewers to understand that they're even worse. That is ICE and their boss, Trump are even worse than what we were saying when we're trying to share that this is the face of U.S. fascism today. It was already even worse than what we were saying, and because without any crimes that he's committed,
without any due process, we'll add,
and without any due process. Well, he had the due process at least of the immigration court, and that the News and Record and others expected would be enough to have him home with his family
to release him,
and especially because he has done nothing wrong,
so
and done all kinds of correct things in his community.
I guess in his own way, this is a Trump way of taking him out and lynching him with his Clannish Act, with all his troops come with hoods and everything on, not to be identified, and to pick a man up and take him out there. So now they're trying to lynch him.
Right. And it's really important because not only did you and I try our best to never tell a lie to our viewers, and we didn't knowingly tell a lie. We based it on a front page article by the News and Record, but even
News and Record was lied to.
Right, or they underestimated also the face of fascism today in the United States, which is the face of Donald Trump and ICE. So, and just so that our viewers understand, Mr. Naser, and I want to repeat his entire name, Mohamed Ali, good name, Abu Bakr Naser. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And, you know, he is a wonderful contributor to the Greensboro area community. Yes. And he's had hundreds of people come out in demonstrations here now, protesting for his immediate release. And we need to, all of us in this area, need to get alert to what's going on with his case. And I want to mention also, O.W., that some of the reason that we chose to focus on Mr. Naser and his situation was not only because of the tremendous support he'd received from the community here and from his own family members, with his 5 children, 3 of whom are citizens of the United States, and his wife, but also because this was something that I know I learned from Trump forcing the National Guard troops of California to be deputized to be under Trump rather than under Gavin Newsom, the governor, and the mayor, the wonderful mayor of Los Angeles.
Bass.
Yes, Ms. Bass. Karen Bass. And what we learned then, or what I learned, I'll say it personally, what I learned then was that Trump, again, in contradiction to his promises to the people that voted for him, that he was going to go after crooks and criminals.
Promises are those lies he told.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that he was going to be going after them or going after them first,
Rapists.
And so on, and all right, and people that ought to be shipped to some other country to be taken into their prisons and never heard from again. Instead, in Los Angeles and in Southern California, when Trump forced those California National Guards people to become his troops, and then sent in the U.S. Marines just in case you didn't get the message. You didn't get the message to back up their
terrorize the people even more.
Their vicious, violent terrorizing of the people. What we found out was that they went to the courts where immigrants were going through the proper procedures that they were told to get
for citizenship.
For citizenship, they went to the fields and farms in Southern California where the people were working as farm workers, and
I want to kick this in. Mind you, by him doing that, he said he was going to make the economy better.
okay.
So by
Yeah.
doing that, how good did he make the economy?
Right.
Did he make it better or worse?
Right. And correct. And the same thing in Los Angeles itself. The shops where the people make clothing, and many have been working in these jobs for 20 years and all, and are still not citizens or anything, and they're in these sweatshops.
Yes.
And what Trump ended up doing, though, OW, if you remember, was he, for a couple of days, under pressure from the capitalists in Southern California,
Yes.
he reversed himself, because it's exactly what you're raising, that instead of it being a boon for the U.S. economy,
It was a doom.
it was a doom for the good one, for the U.S. economy. And so he was going to make an exception for all of these hard-working people that all of a sudden he discovered were in these places that he sent the ICE thugs into
Yes.
to disrupt.
Should we call them the ISIS thugs, or should we call them what we better known by as the Ku Klux Klan, going around hooded and hiding their face and ashamed of what they're doing? I would suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's good that you're referencing the Ku Klux Klan, but I hope that the ICE thugs become known for their own thuggish behavior on their own, and even though the history is helpful to understand the depth of the terror
Yes.
that especially the immigrant people
being inflicted on another
right,
human being.
and black and brown people especially
Yes.
all over the United States, whatever their status, whatever their history, because this is naked white supremacy.
It's subject
and
to,
white
subject to be
supremacist
terrorized.
white supremacist terror, like the Klan terror.
That's right.
Was largely that, and so it was an important issue that we focused on Mr. Naser in our own local community, because his conduct has been without reproach.
Yeah,
he's been such an outstanding member of this community, and for
Trying
people
to become
here,
a citizen.
right?
Of
That's
the
right.
United
He
States.
is too. Right.
Doing everything right.
Right.
So, did you think they researched to find him,
They-
make
that's-
him a criminal? I mean,
No,
he wasn't
they-
in the courts.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't in the court system.
Right.
How did they find him?
Right.
Why did they pick him out? And this is one that we know about. How many of them out there we don't know about?
Exactly. And some of the reason that his case has become such a cause célèbre in this community is because of his own outstanding qualities. Well, every individual that goes to work every day doesn't have to possess his great qualities
Yes.
in order to be able to go to work without fear of being kidnapped by the federal government and the terrorists of the U.S. federal government. And then we compared it to the people of Los Angeles and of Southern California who had been terrorized in the same way. They didn't go to the criminal elements in Southern California.
No, didn't
they
look
went
them
to the hardworking folks in the sweatshops, to the warehouses and the various jobs that
where they was supposed to be looking for the criminal. Well, you know, I'm gonna have to throw this out again. I think I said it last show. Birds of a feather like to flock together. Maybe Trump didn't want to put his people out. You know, the ones who are like him, who's been criminalized, and because he's been convicted of 34 felony counts, so he didn't want to go out there and gather his fellow thugs up, his fellow criminals.
Well, he did release his fellow thugs from January 6th and the insurrection that he led.
And since you bring up the word release, what's going to happen with
Jelani Maxwell?
Yeah, Jelani Maxwell. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
What's already happened to her, OW, is
she's been rewarded.
she's already been rewarded with the best reward that a criminal in prison can have, and that is she's been given the best status.
Minimum
minimum security, which puts all those other people in danger because she's no minimum security prisoner. She's a convicted sex trafficker.
Yeah.
And
if you had a little something on Trump, you might be able to get something like that too.
Yeah. Well, I do have something on Trump. But I'm not in prison. But I do have something on Trump. No. I have. Wait
you don't
a minute.
have what she have on Trump.
No, that's true. But that's definitely true. But I do have.
And
this.
they don't want that to get out.
Right. But what does have to get out, and might as well happen right now, is that it's been 20 years or so since the Southern Florida U.S. Attorney Acosta gave Jeffrey Epstein the most sweetheart deal when he was first convicted. When he was first convicted of sex trafficking, he got a year in jail, not in prison. He got a year in jail in Miami.
Was that in jail or was that
jail.
a minimum security?
No, it was less than minimum security. He was in jail.
My understanding he went to work during the week.
That's right. He was at least able to be free to roam around anywhere for 10 or 12 hours a day, every day, maybe except Sunday.
But that was under George W. Bush.
That was for the no. That was under Trump.
No.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. It was. But what Trump did, though, and this is the guy that supposedly he claimed recently that he hardly knew Jeffrey Epstein. Of all of the thousands of attorneys in the United States, of all the millions of people in the United States, who do you think Trump appointed as his first Secretary of Labor? It was none other than Acosta, the man who made the agreement with the stranger, Jeffrey Epstein, around such a serious issue as sex trafficking of girls, minors, right? And so Trump picked Acosta, but it became such a huge scandal that Acosta had to resign after about a year and a half or 2 years from that post. But one thing I pointed out, just let me finish on Acosta, because I said I had one thing I wanted to raise about Trump, and that was this connection to Acosta. And one of the points I made to people in the labor movement, especially at the top of the labor movement in the United States, is that as Secretary of Labor, Acosta was not only responsible for union labor, for non-union labor, he was also responsible, O.W., for surveillance over and monitoring of and enforcement against sex trafficking. That was part of his job.
Well, he was an expert. So you know.
He was, and Trump, again, and that's, you might not have heard, brothers and sisters,
well, maybe that was his qualification.
among our viewers, right, exactly. And that the Secretary of Labor, when it was Acosta, the man who gave this incredible sweetheart agreement to Jeffrey Epstein, he was in charge of the Trump government's concerns about sex trafficking. So much for Trump's concern about the victims of sex trafficking in the United States.
Or the victim of North Carolina.
And you heard it. You heard it right here on this show, and you may never have heard it before. Take it with you.
And I want to add that I'm not trying to minimize or saying that this person was right or wrong what he did, but I believe Michael Vick got worse treatment for fighting dogs than some of these people got for destroying human beings' lives.
Right. And Mr. Naser, or Mahmoud Khalil, the outstanding patriot of both Palestine and the United States, he got 103 days in a Louisiana prison, and Ghislaine Maxwell just got a sentence upgrade, which was a total violation of the law of this country. the penal codes of this country. So this is how
the fascism of this country.
The fascism, U.S. fascism today looks like, and the young women who were the victims of this, which is maybe 1,000 of them under Epstein and Maxwell.
Well, let's just say an unknown number.
No, well, I mean, it's close. It's around 1,000.
It might be over 1,000.
It may be over 1,000, but it's that kind of operation that,
if it's
that
one,
you're
it's
dealing
too
with.
many.
But if it's 1,000 or so, and it's that much more criminal than what they did, and so
and the fear and terrorism that was put into them young women is not to speak of.
So what was the last thing?
The fear and terrorism that was put into them young women is not to speak of.
Yeah, and that's true. And many of them have spoken up anyway over the years. And so far, they've had nothing but heartache, not only from the Trump regime, but from Clinton and others that were involved. Alan Dershowitz, the Prince of England, who used to be second or third to the throne.
Yes.
And that's how royal the royals are.
We have to close.
Right.
In our unity
lies our strength.